June 6th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by Ancient City Brewing. And now, a guy who does like a cold brew, lives in the city, and can definitely be considered ancient. Coincidence? J.P. Shadrick.
And welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour on this Thursday, June 6th, the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Welcome in. JP Shadrick with you. We've got a busy hour ahead as we wind down the offseason program. Oh, yes, the quarterback contract negotiations continue. We'll get to a conversation that we had on the Huddle-up podcast earlier this week around the Trevor Lawrence discussion. That's coming up. Yes, the offseason program officially closes next week. OTAs wrapped up today in a unique way. We'll show you some of that on Jaguars.com coming up. The assistant coaches for the Jaguars spoke with the media yesterday. We'll have the best of some of the assistants yesterday, both sides of the football, defense and offense. And we've got plenty of Microsoft questions that have been submitted online on X earlier today. We'll give you the best we've come up with today. We're on 1010 AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. JP Shadrick with you, flying solo today. Jeff Lageman is out. He'll be back with us next week in what will be our final show before the dead period. The players out of here by next Wednesday is the official last day of the mandatory mini camp. But, hey, it's been a little lighter tempo on the field this offseason program. The Jaguars, for at least the last 2 weeks, have been practicing, yes, but without helmets. A lot of this time is about the teaching portion of it, the classroom portion of the offseason program, especially on the defensive side, getting the new scheme and players acclimated to the new terminology and things such as that. And that has been the case again this week. And Doug Peterson earlier this week explaining what this time of year is truly all about for the Jags.
It's about development. It's about teaching. And it's about the fundamentals. And I don't think so much that we're tinkering with a lot of things, but at the same time developing our young players and seeing what you have and can they handle, playing getting snaps with, let's say it's, a young offensive lineman. Can he get the reps with the starters? Or a D lineman, can he get the reps with, your starters, the secondary guys? So if there's any tinkering that goes on, that's probably where it's at right now with the personnel and the growth and developing those young players.
So that's what the OTAs have been about for head coach Doug Peterson, and just getting some younger guys some time. But a lot of instances, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and they will never admit this, you pretty much know who the starters are in a lot of places on the offensive side especially. So it's about getting those guys some time and getting them out there, at least on the field together. And on the offensive line perspective, about finding that one accord, one heartbeat, as Mitch Morse put it a couple weeks ago. And this is where that is really built, and the foundation of that begins in the offseason program. Well, the program is now winding down. The final OTA was on the schedule for today, but instead the Jaguars took it off campus. They banged the final OTA and went bowling today down at Main Event on Phillips Highway on the deep south side. And, it's a team bonding, team building event. That's the traditional final OTA. A lot of places cancel the 10th and final one if things have gone well in the first 9. And put together some kind of team building activity. A couple years ago, I think it was paintball. They've been bowling before. If you're watching on Jaguars.com or Jaguars YouTube, Doug Peterson was among that group bowling today. Eric Armstead there also, and some of the video games, everything, and just kind of the last group activity really before the break, because a lot of these players will not be back next week. That's the way Doug Peterson has done it in the past, and it feels like that's the case again next week, the mandatory minicamp, because it was so well attended by a lot of these veterans. Evan Ingram's here, Christian Kirk's been here, all these guys have been here. Josh Allen, really the only one who has not been around. Well, most of these veteran players will not have to be around next week. So it'll be a lot of young players, rookies, Some other select players who need a little extra time on task will get that next week, Monday, Tuesday especially, and we'll even see about Wednesday if that's shortened up or what the case is next week. But the mandatory minicamp is mandatory for only a certain select number of players next week, not a lot of those veteran guys. So today, a last chance to really kind of get together and then break up for about 5 or 6 weeks, and then late July, the Jaguars will be back in training camp. We're on 1010XL, AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. JP Shadrick with you on Jaguars Happy Hour. Another prevailing theme, of course, this week is the Trevor Lawrence contract negotiations. They are continuing. Trevor Lawrence was asked about it after Monday's practice this week.
Yeah, obviously I'm aware of what's going on, but I try to keep my focus on doing my job out here. I have full belief that'll take care of itself, and that's not something that I need to worry about. That's why I pay people and hire people to do that for me. So that's not my job. But obviously I know what's going on. I'm aware of the situation. I think that's important too. But yeah, I try to keep all my focus and energy on being the best player I can be to help us win.
Is it important to you to get done before camp or before the season or at all? Do you have any timetable at all?
I mean, yeah, I think that would be ideal. Just to put it behind us and keep moving and feel good about that going into training camp. But either way, like I've said before, I have the same job, so I can't always control all those factors, but I have the same job to do either way. But yeah, I mean, I would, of course, that'd be ideal, is to get it done as soon as you can and kind of move forward.
It's Trevor Lawrence, of course, after practice on Monday, and what could be his final media appearance until training camp. Unless there's a deal that gets done, he might that could change things in that regard. He also sat down with John Oehser this week on the Ozone podcast, available on the official Jaguars podcast network. So Trevor Lawrence making the rounds this week before this summer break coming up. And he was asked there by Mark Long, is there a timetable in your mind? And, it was an honest answer. Would love to get it done before training camp because that means it's behind everybody and they can just focus on the game, which they would anyway, I think. But it will be a storyline if it's not done by training camp. And there is the feel, at least in the past, from General Manager Trent Baalke, in past instances like this, I don't remember him negotiating a contract, at least with the Jaguars, mid-season. Maybe behind the scenes. I don't remember one getting done. Josh Allen didn't get done last year. It got done after the season, and it got done earlier in this offseason. So, if this thing goes up to training camp, at what point do they say, you know what, this is the deadline? We either do it by this date or we don't do it, and we wait until the off season. I think that's a possibility that there's got to be some kind of debt. I don't see this thing carrying over into the regular season, especially. So we'll see. Things seem like, from all accounts that we've heard, that everything's on the up and up, and everybody's playing nice, and the conversations continue. And that's what this summer will be about still, I think, between the Jaguars and the Trevor Lawrence side of things. But, hey, it could get done. This thing could get done before training camp, and that would be, I think, ideal on all parties. We talked about this, though, on the Huddle-up podcast Wednesday, also available on the official Jaguars podcast network. Bucky Brooks and John Oehser discussing the quarterback, including that conversation that Johnny O had with Trevor Lawrence one-on-one Tuesday.
We probably talked about 20 minutes, and we talked some about the contract. Maybe a couple questions were focused on that. I didn't dwell on it because there's not much that a player in that situation is going to say. What I did gather from him is it's if you can put yourself in his shoes, he expanded a little bit on it. He said, look, I don't think about it all the time, but during this time of year when you're on the phone with your agent and talking about it, you do take it very seriously. He said, because it's very important. He didn't say quite like this, but it's the money that will define his life in a very real sense. It's a huge deal. Now, with him, if it happens not to get done next season, I don't think it's a problem. I'm just sort of thinking more, if you can sort of close your eyes and wouldn't we love this, JP, to close our eyes and put ourselves in that conversation? Hey, JP, you're either going to get 60 guaranteed or 55.
Yeah.
And then you would be, making plans that nobody even wants to know about, by the way.
Yeah.
So just sort of how that at times must consume you a little bit. That said, I think it's getting done before training camp, so I don't think it'll be a problem. But overall, the conversation, it was good. He was a little more open than he was the last time we did this, which was last year. I think the biggest takeaway I had was some of the stuff that he has said on the podium about how focused and how driven the team is right now. You know how I feel about OTAs, focused and driven, whatever. But there was something in his voice along the lines of knowing that they need to set a tone. He said, look, we all know what OTAs are, but the focus, there's a limit to how much it can be seen on the field, but you get the idea that there's a core of veterans on this team, young guys who are growing up now. Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, Trevor, all the guys we've talked about, year 3 in Doug Peterson's system. They're more professional. They know what they need to get done this time of year. They know what happened last year can't happen again. All that stuff, he enunciated it better than I did, which is why I had him on and it wasn't just me talking about it. Mm-hmm. But I think that's real. I did sense a real focus and a real maturity from this core that I think will matter a lot next year. And Bucky, I guess that's what you would expect to hear, but I thought it was significant.
Yeah, I think it is significant. I love what Trevor has said about the contract stuff or whatever. It weighs over top of him. There's a lot of pressure for him to get the thing done so he can just focus on playing the game. And look, the money is significant, and they'll eventually find a way to get to a middle ground because it's in the Jags' best interest to get the deal done sooner rather than later because the cost is only going to continue to go up. For Trevor, once he has the security, knowing that the contract is done, then he can focus on playing ball. And he's kind of been a lightning rod of criticism over the course of the offseason because there are people that are outraged at what the number is going to be based on what he's accomplished, what the team has accomplished or not accomplished with him at the helm. But I think what you're doing if you're the Jaguars, you're betting on the player. You're betting on the guy. You're betting on who he is, what he's meant to the team, how he interacts with his teammates, what he does in the locker room, and what he's shown in flashes on the field. Once you get that done, it allows you then to build the team around him, knowing what the number is. Love the chemistry and the continuity that they have in place. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on this Jaguars offense to perform. They have to perform at a higher level than they did last year. And look, whether it's Press Taylor, Doug Peterson, whoever's calling it, they got to find a way to make the pieces of the puzzle work.
I guess I would ask fans and observers who, in this discussion, I try to avoid the discussion when I'm out, JP.
Do you?
Yeah, it just.
Oh. Well, I thought you're a people person, John.
I'm a people person. Certain people. But ask yourself this, JP, and I'll ask Bucky as well. He's in California. If you don't re-sign Trevor, what's the alternative? Blow it up and start over? I mean, you've got a guy that I think what the floor is. And I think the floor is really good. I don't know what the ceiling is yet. I don't know if the ceiling is Mahomes, but I know that the worst is not bad and not bad at all. And so I've used this analogy probably on this show before. I don't know what Trevor's going to be, and I know there are flaws that he has to correct. I also don't want to be standing in the parking lot waving goodbye when he drives away for the last time.
No.
Because then all of a sudden I go back inside the building and I'm trying to find another one. And I assume you think I'm onto something there, Buck.
100%. And as much as I would love the team to be, we're just going to draft one, we've seen the challenges that teams have had in trying to identify a franchise quarterback. Trevor Lawrence may not have been what we wanted him to be when we looked at him coming out of Clemson, but he certainly hasn't been a flop or a bust. He certainly has done enough to merit continuing to be the Jaguars quarterback. And the cost of doing business is the cost of doing business when it comes to marrying a quarterback. And you pay him, you put it to bed, you become comfortable with the number, and then you do everything in your power to put the pieces around him that would allow him to play at a high level. Because what we have seen When the quarterback plays at a high level, the team plays at a high level, and you get into the tournament and it gives you a chance. And I have tried to encourage people to think about it this way. If Trevor Lawrence is on the field with Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen or any of the other notable quarterbacks that are regarded as elite, do you feel like you have a chance if the game turns into a shootout? And if you feel like you have a chance, then you stroke the check. If you don't, then you have to try and find somebody else. But there are not many of those quarterbacks that come along, and you have to be comfortable going through an extended drought without a quarterback. If you move on from, to me, that's why it's a no-brainer to get it done, because it's easier to add some pieces to elevate him at the level that he is than to think about doing it all over again. It's really as simple as, can you close your eyes and envision the confetti falling on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders because of the way that he played in the Super Bowl? If you can do that, then you do it. If you have a tougher time imagining him being a guy that can do that, then you can't write that. I feel really good about this team. I believe things have swung so far in the other direction that the Jaguars are underrated and Trevor Lawrence is undervalued. This would be a great opportunity for him to kind of right those wrongs and show the football world that, look, he is much better than he's given credit for, and this team is much better than people are expecting it to be going into next season.
That's Bucky Brooks and John Oehser on the Huddle-up podcast, available now on the official Jaguars podcast network. We recorded that yesterday about midday, and a great discussion about the Trevor Lawrence situation and some reasons why it probably should happen. The contract negotiations continue, and we'll see what happens. And, of course, John Oehser's conversation with Trevor one-on-one will be available soon, very soon. I believe later today, if not already up there, the official Jaguars podcast network, today or tomorrow. Go subscribe. It's free, and you'll get the Trevor Lawrence conversation with John Oehser coming up. The schedule is finally here, of course, and you don't want to miss these matchups here in 2024. If you want to become a season ticket member, catch 3 or more games with a bundle at the bank, or experience the season with a Proud Pass, well, there's a plan for every fan this season. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Jaguars assistant coaches met with the media yesterday, including the defensive staff. A lot of new faces. We'll hear from some of those next. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by Ancient City Brewing. Taste history, make history.
Brewing is celebrating 30 years of Jags football by becoming the proud craft beer partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And what better way to celebrate a throwback year than to throw back some of their expertly crafted beers? From Augustine's Orange Amber Ale to their Castillo Coconut Porter, there's always something new to discover at Ancient City Brewing, including the new First and Gold Golden Ale, coming soon to a Duval County store near you. Ancient City Brewing, taste history, make history, and please always drink responsibly.
Have you been looking for a way to positively impact the youth in our community? Become a Take Stock in Children mentor today. For 25 years, Goodwill's Take Stock program has been changing the lives of middle and high school students in Duval, Putnam, and Swanee counties. It offers support through mentoring, college tuition scholarships, and so much more. Take Stock is growing rapidly, and more mentors are needed. For just 1 hour a month during the school year, you can help shape a brighter future. To learn more and apply to be a mentor, visit goodwillnorth-fl.org.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Don't get sacked by a no-name propane rookie, Jacksonville. Draft an all-star and switch to AmeriGas, the official propane provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the homes and businesses who know it was always the Jags. Show off your Duval pride at your next tailgate with a Jaguars grill tank from AmeriGas. To find an AmeriGas exchange location near you or to order a propane fill-up for your home or business, visit AmeriGas.com/Jacksonville-Jaguars or call 844-PRO-JAGS.
Chelsea here from Renewal by Anderson, where we deliver custom-designed energy savings windows and doors. Did you know our unique Fibrix material combines elegance and resilience, offering double the strength of traditional vinyl? Now through June, buy one window or patio door and receive 40% off, plus 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Restrictions apply. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details. License number CGC 1527613.
Welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by Ancient City Brewing. Taste history, make history. JP Shadrick with you, flying solo today. Jeff Lageman back with us next week in what will be our final show of the offseason program. We'll be back again right after the start of training camp. Early August will be our next show after next week. We're on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. Premier League soccer comes to the bank July 27th when Wolverhampton and West Ham United compete for the Stateside Cup. Tickets on sale now. Visit everbankstadium.com. It has been a little bit since there has been a soccer game at the stadium. Let's see. It would have been, wasn't there a U.S. It was a U.S. team. I know that. It wasn't U.S.-Mexico. I know the women's team played here at one point in the probably 2013-14 era, but it's been a little while. That's the whole point. Fulham played here at one point back in the early days of Mr. Khan's ownership of that team. So looking forward to that. Premier League soccer coming to the bank for a preseason tune-up. Should be a good one. And, get those tickets now. everbankstadium.com. Hey, yesterday, Jaguars assistant coaches were made available to the media. It happens around this time each and every offseason. Notable yesterday because many of the defensive coaches are new, and it was the first opportunity to get in front and hear from some of these guys who are in charge now, and a lot of new faces, including Chris Richard, who is the Jaguars defensive backs coach. And a lot going on there. Some new faces in the secondary as well. But some familiar faces are coming back, including Andre Sisco and Tyson Campbell. Those guys have to adapt to a different defense and a different style of play maybe this year. So we heard from Richard, the DB's coach, about that style of play, how veteran players might have to adjust, plus Campbell trying to bounce back from the hamstring injuries of a year ago.
Everybody's been a part of a defense, right, or tried to play a particular style that's been really challenging, right? Again, get up there, get in people's face, challenge them at the line of scrimmage, again, get on the back, again, especially as a safety, right? Again, lock in, key the quarterback, again, get tuned in to key in the quarterback's intentions and seeing how they're trying to work us again, and then how we're essentially trying to work our disguises to fool the quarterback and everything being relative from there. So I think it's been a really cool transition. I know, again, the guys we've got a lot of buy-in. Again, we've got really good guys, they're really good athletes, and really looking forward to seeing where we take it.
What have your impressions been of Tyson so far, and what kind of year could this be for him after what was a bit of a difficult one last year?
Yeah, so it's we don't control every circumstance, right, but we do control our every thought. And so the soft tissue injuries, whatever took place last year, right, again, all that stuff has to be wiped clean, right, so it's a clean slate. I think he's one of the finer athletes that I've been around throughout my coaching career here. It's kind of just the way he's able to run and transition. He's got a bit of a perpetual motion thing. Obviously, again, he's been a state champion here. As a 100-meter runner, 10-3, like that. That's incredibly valuable. And I don't know. It's just kind of weird, So it's just like when you're able to watch an athlete again in motion and things of that nature, right? Again, he's got that proverbial ball type movement to where He's not a hesitant, stiff type guy. Again, he's just rolling. He's just rolling. So the big thing is always going to be, and this for everyone a part of the secondary was covering, right? Again, it's just going to be, again, eye discipline, the level of intensity. Again, once we figure out the direction of the wide receivers going, and staying true to that, right? Again, so not allowing our eyes to come up and drift and key the quarterback and all that type of stuff. So again, that in particular has just been going. It's training for everyone. Again, not more in particular for him, but just being able to watch a guy, again, same, right? So you see the profile here: height, length, speed, size, all that type of stuff, man. It's getting him at the line of scrimmage. How many guys can actually run past him? That sort of stuff, So just helping him, teaching him, utilize his skill set, keeping his eye discipline, again, staying true to his strength, and then watching him maximize it.
Chris Richard, the defensive backs coach for the Jaguars, joining the staff this year. The former defensive coordinator, co-defensive coordinator of the Saints back in 2022 and of the Seahawks from 2015 to 2017. Been in the NFL since 2010 as an assistant coach, and attended Southern California where he played in the early, right around the turn of the century, actually, 98 to 2001 his time with the Trojans. So a good perspective there on some current players, guys that are coming back. But there have been a few additions in the defensive secondary this offseason as well for the Jaguars, and they'll have to play a key role in some position groups. Certainly the Jaguars went in free agency and picked up a couple of veteran players to come in and play not only outside at corner but at nickel. They brought in Darby. They brought in Savage in free agency back in March 14th. That was the official day of free agency. Gregory Jr. has been around, some exclusive rights tender contract things with him in mid-April. And then added a couple of defensive backs to the depth May 16th. Terrell Edmonds and Trey Flowers added to the team. So those have been the additions to the DB room and in this offseason, not to mention the draft picks as well that they've added, of course, Jarian Jones from Florida State, DeAndre Prince from Ole Miss. So they'll have some competition there as well. So you could see Darby. You could see on the outside, you could see Jarian Jones competing for an outside, but maybe a nickel spot. And then you got Antonio Johnson, who's going to be involved somewhere, whether it's safety or nickel. I mean, they're working on those kind of things right now in the defensive back world, and that's what OTAs have been about, giving guys different opportunities in different places to see what they have to offer. And that's what they've been doing really the last month and a half or so. The second level of the defense, the linebacker level. And middle linebackers coach Matt House joining the Jags this year after a couple of years as the defensive coordinator at LSU. And he talked about his group yesterday. Foye Oluokun, Devin Lloyd, Chad Muma lead the way there. But he was asked about when he knows if his group is ready to play. Plus, Devin Lloyd's transition going into another year.
I don't know that happens until you get into September, to be honest with you. And this league, so often it's about who's available, so that's what training camp's for.
You talked about Devin gaining weight. I was just curious, what do you think that does for him in terms of his strength and things of that?
Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily weight. I think it's been muscle mass and just. But it's definitely going to help him strike blockers. It's going to, you talk about knockback tackles. When you get a guy that's explosive and can run like that, and he's carrying a lot of strength, obviously that packs a punch.
It seemed like over the first couple of years of his career, at least from a layman's terms or just from a casual observer, he could get lost sometimes. I'm curious, on your perspective, with this new scheme, how it could probably help him do the things that he needs to do.
Yeah, I think, again, it's just the continued repetition of where I fit within the scheme and then how I fit with the offense attacking me. I hate to go backwards because, I wasn't here, and to be honest with you, it doesn't do any good. I could only speak about where we're at right now, and I'm pleased with where he's at in the process.
Demetrius Harvey with the questions of Matt House, the inside linebackers coach now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think, and talking to Devin a couple of weeks ago, that conversation available on Jaguars.com. Yes, he made it a priority in the weight room this offseason, and it shows. I mean, he is just physically a bigger, more imposing type of player, and we'll see what that means. Does that mean he's up on the line of scrimmage a little bit more, like he was a lot in college in his final couple years at Utah? That remains to be seen. They weren't giving up many of those details in the conversation yesterday. Outside linebackers coach Bill Shuey was also available. He's one of the few to return from the defensive side last year in the coaching role. Well, there's good reason. His outside linebackers combined for 27.5 sacks last year. But what is improvement from there for Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker?
For those guys, it goes back to, like, when you're talking about the measurement of success, that was in the sack number, right? And so from a sack standpoint, you'd like to see improvement always, right? And you might see that from other contributors or whatever else, from you looking at the totality of the position group. But from them, in the pass rush standpoint, I like to focus on affecting the quarterback, because I feel like they have more control over how they affect the quarterback than they sometimes do to the actual outcome, which may be the sack. But at the end of the day, they're judged on sacks. I'll be judged partially on their ability to get sacks, and so we don't want to completely just push that aside. That's real, but at the end of the day, I'll focus a little bit more on their ability to affect the quarterback and try to help the defense.
Where did you see Trayvon improve the most last year?
I think the way that when I watch him play, he's faster. It's not the processing of different things happened a lot faster. I think he understands the angles. He does a great job of understanding the small things now. He's applying, pre-snap. He's doing a better job of understanding situations where the back is, seeing little indicators maybe from the offense where it gives him a little bit more of an edge pre-snap to help him. And then I think as he continues to be able to process things as he is right now during the play, I'm talking about during the play, and that came with experience, right? I think his athletic ability, will continue to take him to new heights. But again, it's going to be difficult, and he's got to continue to put in the work. But like I said to somebody earlier, he is one of the hardest working guys I've ever been around.
Bill Shuey, the outside linebackers coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And as we mentioned, Allen Walker, of course, combining for 27.5 sacks last season. Yeah, the pressures are what it's about, but the sacks bring the dollars. Ask Josh Allen. He got him in the right time, the right year, in a contract year, 17.5 of those things a year ago. We're back in a moment. Plenty ahead, including the best of the offensive assistant coaches. A lot of familiar faces in that side of the ball in the coaching staff room. Jaguars Happy Hour brought to you by Ancient City Brewing. Taste history, make history.
Ancient City Brewing is celebrating 30 years of Jags football by becoming the proud craft beer partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And what better way to celebrate a throwback year than to throw back some of their expertly crafted beers? From Augustine's Orange Amber Ale to their Castillo Coconut Porter, there's always something new to discover at Ancient City Brewing, including the new First and Gold Golden Ale, coming soon to a Duval County store near you. Ancient City Brewing, taste history, make history, and please always drink responsibly.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's not about how you start the job. It's about finishing what you start. The Ford F-150 truck can help. Get the freedom to choose between available gas, PowerBoost Hybrid, or all-electric powertrains, all delivering the power, capability, and efficiency needed to get the job done right. Just another reason why Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck in America 47 straight years. Ford F-150, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
With Verizon, now everyone can get our best phone deals.
Even if I'm new?
Even if you're new.
What if I've been with Verizon forever?
Oh, yeah. You see, new and existing customers get the amazing iPhone 15 with tons of storage on us. With any iPhone trade, any model, any condition. Guaranteed with unlimited ultimate.
Here's one. What if?
That's a yes. There's a deal out there for everyone. Only at Verizon. $829.99, 128 gigabyte only device payment or full retail purchase with new or upgrade smartphone line on unlimited ultimate plan. Minimum $90 a month with auto pay plus taxes and fees for 36 months required. Less $830 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR. Trade-in terms apply.
Don't get sacked by a no-name propane rookie, Jacksonville. Draft an all-star and switch to AmeriGas, the official propane provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the homes and businesses who know it was always the Jags. Show off your Duval pride at your next tailgate with a Jaguars grill tank from AmeriGas. To find an AmeriGas exchange location near you or to order a propane fill-up for your home or business, visit AmeriGas.com/Jacksonville-Jaguars or call 844-PRO-JAGS.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Still using the same techniques, and that's what I'm telling our players is we're still using the same techniques. However, you still have a completely different blocking schemes. There's way different angles and different situations of how do you get to these blocks when they're only 5 yards away from each other. And so I'm learning every day. We do a kickoff or kickoff return period. The very next day I have, okay guys, here's some new stuff we got to do. Here's a coaching point I got for you. This is what I've learned. And I have players coming. I have great players that have great information. They say, Coach, this is a little tougher to get to. What do you think about this? Great. Love it. But we're exploring everything.
Heath Farwell, special teams coordinator, visiting with the media earlier this week. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by Ancient City Brewing. Taste history, make history, and that's going to make some history, too. That's a big change, obviously. And, it's made for a busy offseason for special teams coaches around the NFL and special teams players around the NFL because it is a totally new feel and look. There might be an occasional XFL or UFL player that has done something similar before, but for most accounts, it's a brand new scheme, brand new ideas, and we've not seen it at all. So at some point, when football happens, real football happens, you'll start to see some adjustments on that front. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. We're on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. JP Shadrick flying solo today and reviewing the assistant coaches who spoke with the media yesterday. And we get to the offensive side of the football. A lot of familiar faces, of course, on this side, starting on the offensive line. That's been a group of focus in this offseason and how they take the next step. Offensive line coach Phil Rauscher with the media yesterday discussing the Mitch Morse addition at center and much more.
The offensive line as a whole does a good job of connecting with one another and helping each other with that. And at the end of the day, Mitch is at a point in his career where he's still playing really good football, but he could help younger players develop. Not just Luke, but Cooper Hodges and Vaughn and Stephen Jones and the young guys. I think that a guy like Mitch really helps bring the unit together even more. So Luke has handled this like a pro. He's done a great job, and we all have to play better. We all have to do a better job coaching, playing, for us to be successful. So it was good to bring Mitch in and his leadership and whatnot, but we all know that we got to do things the right way.
How tough is the spot is Walker Little in kind of in a contract year? Hasn't really had a shot at really locking up a starting job. How tough is it for Walker in the spot?
Walker's done a great job with the role he's been asked to do, but since I've been here. But that doesn't mean that the competition is locked up in any way, shape, or form for this upcoming year. He's done an excellent job in OTAs. So is Cam, and Anton really hasn't done much just because of what's been going on with him. So he's been getting a lot of reps and showing what he can do. And Walker has played a lot of positions for us, and to his credit, he's handled that like a pro. But we're excited for the direction of where he's going, because he is a really good football player. And once we can get him settled in and playing one spot more, I think he's going to take off.
It seemed like Cooper Hodges was really heading in the right direction last year. Injury kind of derailed him for a minute. Has he picked up where he left off?
Yeah, Coop has done a really nice job coming back. I think that the first week or two he was a little bit, how's my knee going, where's my knee going kind of thing, and now he's really he's in a position where he's playing some pretty good football. We've moved him around. He's playing both guard positions in center, and he's playing with some confidence, and he's doing some good things. So.
It's Phil Rauscher, the offensive line coach, Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 with some of the questions there. And, yeah, what did the Jaguars change on the offensive line? Well, they signed Ezra Cleveland to an extension. He didn't have much time with the Jaguars on task last year. Blake Hant signed to an extension, depth player in his past at least, competing for some work. And then signed Mitch Morrison, free agency, to play center, 10th-year player. They re-signed Tyler Shatley, Mr. Jaguar, in mid-April. And then Javon Foster, the rookie contract signed in mid-May, the 4th-round draft pick from this year. That's what changed. Everything else is the same. Left tackle, Cam Robinson, who missed 8 games last year, by the way. If you remember, he is back at left tackle. You got Brandon Sheriff. Hopefully can stay healthy. He's been fighting through injury for a couple seasons. He's at right guard, and then Anton Harrison at right tackle. And of course, the coaches have said there's really not a depth chart right now. Everybody's competing, but that's the case. I mean, Mitch Morris has got to be the lead horse going into training camp at least. They brought him in here for a reason. And Ezra Cleveland the same way at left guard. Can Cooper Hodges or somebody like that make a run? Sure. At some point, is that probably the future of the position? Most likely at some point. If Brandon Sheriff, is no longer around here at some point in the future, then they hope to have that next guy in the line. So this will be a focus. Third, especially short yardage situations. Can they move people? Can they get a yard or 2 yards when they need it? And they know you need it. And they weren't able to do that a lot last year. And that's been a topic of conversation in that meeting room, and it should be. Let's go to wide receiver now. Chad Hall, the wide receivers coach, added Gabe Davis to his room this offseason from the Buffalo Bills, a player that he coached in Buffalo before his move here, plus how fast Brian Thomas Jr. has fit into that group.
That's probably his first call. We were lucky to have spent time together in Buffalo, drafted him up there. Another guy, him and BT are definitely the 2 smartest guys, as rookies that I've had in my young career coaching. So he's been a sponge as well. He was easy to teach the offense to, and now he's just in his way leading the group, even though he's coming back from injury.
That blend of size and speed, just how much can he threaten defenses just by being on the field?
He can't. I mean, you'll see it. I mean, it's almost like he's got like that little Mike Vick syndrome where he's running, but he doesn't look like he's running fast, but he is moving. So I just told him, Trevor, couple practices, we had a couple go balls thrown, and he either, caught it back shoulder, had to slow down a little bit, and I just told him, I go tell Trevor to try to out-throw you. Let's see if we can do that. See if he can do that. But you see it in college. He chases everything down. He's fast.
And Doug's mentioned it, but I guess his route running, is that something maybe he didn't get enough credit for coming out of college?
I don't think they asked him to do too much. But yeah, it's something we work on every day with him. Releases, route running, his break point mechanics. He can bend well for a bigger guy. It's just trying to put it all together. So we're working on that as we speak.
That's Chad Hall, the Jaguars wide receivers coach, John Shipley of SI, with some of the questioning there, and a lot of new faces there. Gabe Davis, one of those. Of course, Brian Thomas Jr., first-round draft pick. Two of the at least projected top 3 starters are new to the offense this year, and Gabe Davis really hasn't had time on task yet in this offseason program, coming off an injury in the playoffs last year. So at some point, come training camp, he'll have to get acquainted in live reps in practice with Trevor Lawrence, but that'll come. And the question will be, how many do they keep? They added Devin Duvernay as well, who is a kick returner, but he will make it, of course, it feels like. Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr. After that, it could be a fight for a couple spots if they decide to keep 6 players. And Tim Jones has been around here for a couple years, Southern Mississippi product, undrafted player who's made it, been a key special teams player for this group. There are some rookies, undrafted players, younger players. Seth Williams, one of those. Can he make a jump? So we'll see. Training camp will be huge for this group, with new faces and a couple of roster spots up for grabs. But the guy throwing him the football is a focus, of course, Trevor Lawrence. And Mike McCoy is the quarterback's coach, former head coach in the NFL. Lawrence, improvement and team leadership. What has he seen out of number 16?
If you see what he's done out there, this offseason program, he's done a phenomenal job of running the show. And I think his biggest thing this offseason was really getting to know his new teammates. I think you could see the progress he made the last 2 years in our system, and just how comfortable he was of doing, running the show last year and getting us in and out of plays. And the big thing is the key this offseason was really with the new players, of just really learning, how, and just really talking with these guys on how he wants them to run routes, and certain adjustments he's going to make, and little things we've worked on, that we've talked about how he can play better, come up this year.
Doug talked a little bit about kind of making that transition for Trevor of going from learning, but now he's practicing, right? He knows it like the back of his hand, which is what you want in a quarterback. Do you feel he's made that jump effectively, and he can kind of become that person that when anybody else comes to him, he already knows what's going on?
Yeah, Trevor's really, all the quarterbacks I think have done a great job this offseason. Obviously CJ and Trevor have been in it from day one with us, but Trevor's done a phenomenal job of just really going out there and leading the team. And it's the more you play in the same system with the same teammates, it's a lot easier to go out there. The first year you look at it and it's, you're learning the system, and you may not be executing it like, in the offseason. You look at the first offseason program and you want to say certain things, but you might be making a few mistakes and you're not comfortable, or you may not be sure of all the little details of everything because you're still learning. And now you look at the year 3, and now he's like another coach on the field, and you see him really, whether it's in meetings or maybe it's just be sitting downstairs in a general conversation, something comes up with somebody, whether it's sitting down eating, someone might come up and ask a question, and it's just so easy for him to spit out the answer. And that's the way it's been, through practice. If a formation might come up and he might say something to press about, hey, can I run it out of this? And it's just so easy for him to change, because he may want to see Gabe run a certain route instead of he might know how Christian runs this route, so he wants to switch him to learn, just to kind of see how his new teammate runs it. And it's been great to see.
That's Mike McCoy, former Chargers head coach, now Jaguars quarterback coach. And on Jaguars.com, the year-by-year statistics. Well, last year, 14 picks, bunch of fumbles. That's been a focus, and certainly will be in this offseason program and into training camp and beyond. Can Trevor hang on to the football, protect it, and cash it in the red zone? That's a huge key, and we'll see what happens with the contract. Of course, that'll be a focus throughout the next month and a half until the start of training camp with the quarterback. All the availabilities on Jaguars.com from the Jaguars assistant coaches yesterday. We're back in a moment with the Microsoft questions and final thoughts, and we'll hear from an Aussie. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by Ancient City Brewing. Taste history, make history.
Ancient City Brewing is celebrating 30 years of Jags football by becoming the proud craft beer partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And what better way to celebrate a throwback year than to throw back some of their expertly crafted beers? From Augustine's Orange Amber Ale to their Castillo Coconut Porter, there's always something new to discover at Ancient City Brewing, including the new First and Gold Golden Ale, coming soon to a Duval County store near you. Ancient City Brewing, taste history, make history, and please always drink responsibly.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Have you been looking for a way to positively impact the youth in our community? Become a Take Stock in Children mentor today. For 25 years, Goodwill's Take Stock program has been changing the lives of middle and high school students in Duval, Putnam, and Swanee counties. It offers support through mentoring, college tuition scholarships, and so much more. Take Stock is growing rapidly, and more mentors are needed. For just 1 hour a month during the school year, you can help shape a brighter future. To learn more and apply to be a mentor, visit goodwillnorth-fl.org.
Chelsea here from Renewal by Anderson, where we deliver custom designed energy savings windows and doors. Did you know our unique Fibrix material combines elegance and resilience, offering double the strength of traditional vinyl? Now through June, buy one window or patio door and receive 140% off, plus 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Restrictions apply. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details. License number CGC 1527613.
It's not about how you start the job. It's about finishing what you start. The Ford F-150 truck can help. Get the freedom to choose between available gas, Power Boost Hybrid, or all-electric powertrains, all delivering the power, capability, and efficiency needed to get the job done right. Just another reason why Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck in America 47 straight years. Ford F-150, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
With Verizon, now everyone can get our best phone deals.
Even if I'm new?
Even if you're new.
What if I've been with Verizon forever?
Oh, yeah. You see, new and existing customers get the amazing iPhone 15 with tons of storage on us. With any iPhone trade-in, any model, any condition. Guaranteed with unlimited ultimate.
Here's one. What if?
That's a yes. There's a deal out there for everyone. Only at Verizon. $829.99, 128 gigabyte only device payment or full retail purchase with new or upgrade smartphone line on unlimited ultimate plan. Minimum $90 a month with auto pay plus taxes and fees for 36 months required. Less $830 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR. Trade-in terms apply.
Do a lot of classroom work, but it's nothing compared to what we're doing here at the Jags. There's a lot more detail involved in this. It's a lot faster pace, more explosive, and there's a new play and a new scheme each rep. Whereas AFL, the game's it's a constant moving game. It's also played fast and physical, but yeah, a lot more classroom work here. It's a physical game, as I said before. So yeah, just get the pads on and get a good taste of what it's like. I've never run against defense before, so during this OTAs periods now, it's been the first time I've kind of done 7-on-7s. So every day I'm learning something new, and it's been a good challenge.
Patrick Murtaugh joining us earlier this week, and Jaguars Happy Hour brought to you by Ancient City Brewing. Taste history, make history. Murtaugh from Australia, if you can tell. Played Aussie rules football at the highest level there for a number of years, was cut, and then decided to make the move to try for the NFL international program. Did so, was with the Lions last year until injury, has recovered, and now has been given to the Jaguars. So working his way up. The season schedule's here. Single game tickets on sale now. Visit jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. JP Shadrick with you. Final moments of Jaguars Happy Hour on this Thursday afternoon. And let's get to some Microsoft questions. We put out the cat signal earlier today on X. Here's the best we've come up with, and it involves the International Pathway Program. This is from @GTRZN71. Can you explain the International Pathway Program and how it works? It sounds like it's just a free agent pool of international players. How are they found, and who do they work with? Well, it's a great question, and it's a program that started a number of years ago, back in about 2017 by the NFL, to give elite international athletes that may not have even touched football before an opportunity to compete at this NFL level, improve some skills, and then maybe earn a spot. There have been a few players that have come through the program that have worked out on or played on actual game day rosters. F.A. Obata, one of those, Jordan Mailata, Jacob Johnson, all over 1,000 snaps in the NFL. So there are some success stories with this program. It is, it's a work in progress. It is what it is. I mean, and these players get an opportunity, and they're scouted out, and then they go to a combine. It's been in London at Tottenham the last few years, and then they're divvied up basically. I think there's a different division each year that has an extra player that's available, and basically the player does not count against your roster limit in the offseason. And in the regular season, if he clears waivers, he can join your practice squad without penalty if you note him as the international pathway player. You can have an extra practice squad body, basically, is what that is, to give that player an opportunity to improve his skill. Or you can just have him as a regular practice squad player and move him up and down. From this perspective on Murtaugh, he's got the size. He's 6'6", 250. He walks off the bus, and you're like, oh, okay. He fits in with all the other tight ends. But as you just heard him say, the physicality thing is different. He's never put on pads against a defender before. He's never run 7-on-7 until the last 3 weeks. So it gets real in a hurry when you're having to move other NFL players. And we'll find out come training camp what he has. But it'll be a fun project to watch. And maybe a year or two, you might have something, or somebody might have something out of Patrick Murtaugh. Next question, at Dylan Kiernan, when will the throwbacks be unveiled? Well, I would say before that throwback game. Yes, at some point. I would guess probably later in the summer. I don't think there's a huge rush right now. There's a lot of football stuff going on. Offseason program is about to wind up. There's plenty of news right now. I would guess when there's not a lot of news going on and when you might want to have some news. So think about the dead period. I would say maybe July-ish. Maybe even leading into training camp. That seems like a good time, but who knows? I don't know. Nobody told me. But just thinking through it, I mean, that would make sense to me. But I know everybody's excited about it. And I think they're going to look really cool. Next question, final one of the day, at Justin G, 096-800-49. What do you believe will be the wide receiver depth chart? Will this offense be capable of having 2,000-yard receivers? Just a Jags fan from Pennsylvania. Thank you. You know what, Justin G, 096-800-49. Thank you. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I think you have an idea of the first three. Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr. Devin Duvernay's on that list. Is he more of a gadget-type player? He's going to be a returner. After that, I think it's wide open. Are they keeping 6? Who are the other 2? That's a great question. Elijah Cooks, they've been working on for a couple years. Hasn't quite really taken that next step. Can he in this training camp coming up? It'll be his second year in the NFL. Tim Jones has been around for a while now. 4th year in the NFL coming up. And a special teams contributor. I think that's where they are. We got to wait and see on some of these guys in the wide receiver room. Those are the Microsoft questions. That is it for our program. The Jaguars practice Monday and Tuesday next week. Wednesday's on the schedule as well. It is mandatory minicamp, but there won't be many veterans around. There'll be a lot of rookies, players who need some extra work, and then the players out of here officially Wednesday. We'll have another one of these programs, the final one of the offseason program, next Thursday at 4 o'clock right here. Our thanks to David Cho, Brent Reber, Joe Fortunato, our entire crew today. A lot of extra work for this program. And thanks to you for listening. I'm JP Shadrick. We will catch you next time. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by Ancient City Brewing. Taste history, make history.